Hello everyone. Hopefully the sound on this one will be a bit better. A quick response. The Recovering Zombie left a comment on my other channel, which I'll tell you about in a moment. Wondering, why I hadn't done a video on the stalemate that's going on in Congress. She was being nice about it, she was just sort of curious. And the reason I haven't is because the battles have largely been fought, and it's really only a matter of how badly we'll lose. I know that many people, many of you, Godless Hayes comes to mind, a lot of people come to mind, believe that participating in the political process is really a waste of time. I would point to two things, one being the New Deal, including Social Security, and how literally the population coming up to Washington, one step away from carrying pitchforks and torches, came about. And two, I would point to the Republican Party of the last 35 years, ever since the election of Jimmy Carter. The Southern strategy really started with Nixon, but it wasn't until the party got its nose bloodied by Watergate and the loss and the subsequent defeat of Gerald Ford in the election of 1976 at the hands of a evangelical, Bible-believing Southern Navy officer. Essentially the kind of person that the Republican Party very much wanted to have in its camp. And by all rights, well, no, I won't say by all rights should have, but it certainly is the image we have of the Republican Party today. And really, they did an incredible job of reinventing themselves and reorganizing from the ground up, which is the way you have to do it. You have to build a local infrastructure. You have to build a media infrastructure. You have to build a communications infrastructure. Think tanks. People to think up shit to do. And possible policy alternatives. Even if they're stupid, having a paper you can put on every Congress critter's desk every morning is an important part of that. Having an infrastructure to donate money for. Having a solid political messaging system that gets the same word out to everybody. Even if it's a variation, and even if there are competing threads, and even if there are competing conspiracy theories, having that communications apparatus is essential. And although it does take money and it does take corporate power, the most important thing it takes is individual participation. It takes door-to-door work. I mean, that's the key to Obama's success in 2008 was his door-to-door operation, voter registration and vote-getting operation. Period. Was door-to-door. Was people. I don't know how many people I know personally who went out and stood on corners to get out the message to people and to try and reach people one-to-one. That's just how you do it. If your decision to participate in the political process is at voting, it begins and ends with voting in your state and national elections, or heaven forbid, only the federal elections, you're too late. You are too late to participate. And although you may shape, and here is why, and this is the most important point of this video, even though you may shape which candidate, which party gets into office, it is too late to shape the narrative in which the competition between them takes place. Right now they're talking about they're barely talking about cutting defense. They're talking about cutting everything else, except a little bit with defense. They're talking about not adding as much spending to defense, and well, cutting a few things here and there. And they're talking about, well, maybe reducing benefits in Social Security, and they're talking about reducing, entitlement reform, and they're talking about cutting back some social programs and foreign aid, and as we're going along, we're talking about smaller and smaller sections of the budget. Screensaver kicked in, sorry. And so as this goes along, we are not addressing the two biggest fundamental problems. There are three big fundamental problems with the American budget. The first is that taxes are too low, period. For the kind of infrastructure we need as a nation to function in a first world context, our taxes are too low. And this is not just saying, and the corollary to this is that our tax code is too antiquated. Now, the average taxpayer, and by average I mean around $39,000 a year, which is the mean, is it the median? If you, basically 50% of the population makes more than $39,000 a year, and 50% makes less. So I guess that would be the median. They are paying right around the right amount to maintain this infrastructure, but the rich are paying far too little. Corporations are paying almost nothing. Many corporations, especially the oil companies, which are getting great tax breaks, all sorts of people are paying effectively no tax because of tax credits that are given to them. Because of a truck tax break, truck manufacturing subsidy tax break that was given to increase production of trucks in World War II, I believe. And then it sort of was phased out and then was brought back. It is more economical for automakers to make SUVs than it is to make cars. This is why we have a glut of SUVs on the market. This is why SUVs are so heavily advertised. And this is why we are making the vehicles we exactly should not be. And well, the tax system is fucked. The rich and corporations are not paying enough. And a value-added tax, a consumption tax, would be really fucking awesome. And oh my god, a financial transactions tax. Every single stock transaction, say 1/10 or 1/100%. Okay? That would kill high-speed computer trading overnight. And it would add to the stability of the financial system and make a small profit, or make a small bit of revenue for the government. It'd be beautiful. Okay. The second thing is the defense budget has relatively little effective oversight, and there are so many fiefdoms within the Defense Department and the Department of Homeland Security. I'm conflating DHS and DOD because they do contract to similar people and contract out to two similar people as well. It's very complicated and ugly. But we are spending a tremendous amount of money on our military and on Homeland Security, and we're not really looking at what we get for it. And in fact, we're starting to spend more and more too much and getting way past the point of diminishing returns. And the third thing was what hopefully the healthcare bill was an opening in the conversation to deal with, but it looks like it's never really going to get around to doing, unless the Republicans manage to destroy themselves and do us tremendous amounts of damage within the next 6 years. And that's medical costs, because that is the driver for the high cost of disability and Medicare. That really is. I mean, we could do a lot if we controlled our medical costs. But of these things, only Medicare is on the table. Raising taxes is out. Trimming the Department of Homeland Security budget. Nobody's even talking. God damn it, I talked for too long. Nobody's even bringing that up. So, and Medicare, they're not talking about controlling medical costs. They're talking about trimming benefits. So if you're going to participate in the political system, participate locally, participate often, and if nothing else, send $5 a year. Here's an example for you. I'm going to include a link to where you can donate $5 to Planned Parenthood in John Boehner's name. Sorry, that was a Freudian slip, but sorry. And what will happen is John Boehner, who is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, a Republican, will get a thank you card from Planned Parenthood. Now, the date to do this was the 21st, but this campaign is ongoing. Keep doing it. And if you can find some other motherfucker to do it, do it. Even if it's just $5 a month or something. Just pick somebody to let know that you are giving their enemies money. Okay? Or if someone, a politician you really like, I mean, Anthony Weiner, Representative Weiner, whatever, I don't know. I'm going to have to explain why I'm in such a snarky mood in another video, which I will make right after this one. But Bernie Sanders, I would say Alan Grayson, except he was voted out. I hope he comes back in. Crystal Ball, who ran for the House of Representatives from Virginia, but she was defeated. She rocks. There are lots of people out there. If they talk about someone who's great, Al Franken, here's another politician who's great. But if they talk about someone who's great, send them a card, or see if you can do donations in the name of, and do a donation to that charity or to that group in the name of that politician, so that the politician gets the thank you card. And that is a direct statement of, we want you to support this group. Or you can handwrite a letter. I do recommend handwriting a letter, and I'm also going to link a video I saw that was absolutely fantastic. A TED Talk that was about writing. Writing your public officials. And really, I'm going to calm down there because right now I'm very tired and I'm a little depressed. And I very much hope that tomorrow is the deadline for the federal government to pass a continuing resolution to fund the government. So we're going to find out how badly we're screwed tomorrow. And probably the Republicans are only going to pass a 2-week continuing resolution. We're going to start this fight all over again. And it's going to be fucking ugly. So, when I say you've got to do something, I don't mean you've got to do something to change about what's happening now. Although, getting your opinion out there that this sucks is a good thing. But we're talking about a decades-long shift in the dialogue that really we just started 2 years ago. 4 years ago, if you're feeling generous. Please do something. Thank you for your time and attention.